On the quiz, you have to know definition.
I was about to speak about that. All right. With all these vocab terms coming at you, I got one good piece of news for you. I don't want you to memorize definitions. All right. You don't have to memorize definitions. In fact, you can tell if you look at your notes, I write all the definitions in for you. Here's what my expectation is. It's two things. I give you a vocabulary term. One, you can draw it. You can draw what I'm talking about. And two, you can put it into mathematical notation for me. That's what I expect. I do not and will never quiz or test you on an actual vocabulary definition. All right? So you don't have to worry about that. It's more, can you draw it and can you write it in our notation and symbols? So let's first start off with our first term here today, which is a point. A point. Again, I'm not really too concerned about the definition. I'm more concerned with, can you draw it? So a point, I'm sure you've seen them before. Yes, it's just a dot. Right? But more than that, accompanying that dot's got to be a capital letter so I can put a name to that point. Because that's just point. I don't know what you're talking about, especially if I have one over here, up here. If I just say the word point, what are you talking about? So I'm going to put a capital letter next to it, P. So now I can call that point P. So we name a point by its capital letter next to it. Let's keep growing. If I take infinite amount of points, infinite amount, and put them right next to each other, what we end up with is what's called a line. All right? A line, which is infinite points put together. So let's draw our first line, making sure we can draw it. Now, let's be detailed here. What do you see at the ends of this line? Arrows. They got to be there. You leave them off. That's a totally different vocabulary term. You leave one on and not the other. That's a totally new vocabulary term. Got to have both on to make a line. And I said that a line was made up of infinite points. Let's put a few on there. Point A, B, C. So first thing is, can you draw a line? Second thing, can you write it in the correct notation? There is a symbol for a line, and that is a smaller line. When you want to write down, this is line so-and-so. Underneath it, you have to have minimum 2 points on that line. Order doesn't matter. Minimum, you have to have 2 points on that line. So I could call this line BC. That's one way to name it. Other ways? Give me another way I can name it. Line AC. Do you have to use 2? No, you can use all 3. We could also name this line ABC. As long you got to have minimum 2. Finally, and your textbook likes to do this a lot when you start using the textbook pages. Instead of naming it by a point, what you'll see is a little lowercase letter next to one of the arrows. That's not a point. It's just showing you another way you could name it. So I could also name this line L. So you'll see that lowercase letter. It's not a point. It's just naming it a little bit of a shorter method. Any questions? Points or lines? Yes?
Could you do the letters out of order?
So B, C, A? Yeah. It's just got to be bare minimum 2 points that are on that line. Order does not matter. Great question. Anything else? So I got point, line, and then the next one. What's that one that just happened? Good job, Jeannie. Plane. All right. Now, I will take a quick look at this definition because it's almost impossible to draw. A flat surface that extends in all directions endlessly. How could I draw something that just goes on forever in all directions? It's not going to happen. So what I'm going to do with you guys is draw a part of a plane. All right. So here's my plane that I'm going to use right there. And there's my plane. All right, first, how do you name a plane? Like a line, we just said you have to have at least 2 points. Okay, first way to name a plane. I apologize, but no, actually, I don't apologize. You're in honors. There is no symbol for plane, so we do have to write out the word plane. But how do you name it? First way to name it. Sometimes there will be a capital letter in one of the corners. That is not a point. Notice I didn't put a point next to it. So that is the first way you can name a plane, by that capital letter in one of the corners. So this could be plane Z. Call that plane Z. Again, it is not a point. I didn't put the dot next to it. All right, speaking of points, let's put some points in here. Let's make W, X, and Y. Put point, because points can be a plane. The second way to name a plane, if it does not have a capital letter in one of the corners, if I connected W, X, and Y, would it form a line?
No.
It shouldn't. No, definitely not. That's the other way. You can pick 3 points off the plane that do not form a line. So the second version of this name could be plane X, Y, W, or any order, doesn't matter. All right. So name it by its letter in the top corner, or by 3 points that don't form a line. Okay, 3 points that don't form a line. All right, let's actually make a note of that right here, so we remember that. Okay, just so you remember where X, Y, and W, why we called it that. And it doesn't have to be that order. All right, what I'm going to have you guys do right now is in your groups, you're going to work on the next 3 questions, write in the answers in our correct notation. Before you start here, I want to make sure you understand what the diagram is telling you. All right, I'm not going to answer these for you. You're going to do those in the group. Does everyone see, and I'm not going to name them because that's going to be your job in the answers. Does everyone see these 2 solid lines right here that are intersecting each other? These 2 right here? That's what we call lines that are actually on the plane. Okay, so this line is on the plane. This line is on the plane. Now look what happens here. Everyone see this vertical line over here? Then all of a sudden I have the dash marks. Ready? That's going through the plane. That is actually not on the plane. So see the difference? On the plane, not on the plane, going through it instead. Okay, so that's what those dash marks represent, that, hey, at point R, it's going through the plane. Make sense? Okay, you and your group, 1, 2, and 3, don't do 4. 1, 2, and 3, a couple minutes. Write it in the correct symbolic notation now. Do not write the word L-I-N-E. Use your notation. All right, let's go. Number 1, give me a line that contained point X. Name a line up here that contained point X. Ready to roll? 2, 1 here. Zachary, what do you have? Zachary, what do you want to go by? Zach, good deal. Y. Okay, I don't want to call it YM because M's not a point.
Oh, shoot, YR.
YR, that's fine with me. So everyone, take a look because I'm going to be picky about this when I grade your quizzes next week. So make sure you got that line symbol. That's awful. YR. RY. Anybody have any other, anything else you want to tell me here? Where are we going? Ones. Aditya, what do you have here?
For the number 2.
Nope, number 1 still. Do you have any, did you have YR? What's your comment? Because there's multiple answers here. A different name to name that line that's contains point X.
M.
M. All right. Remember, we can name it by that lowercase letter on the outside. Yes. Anybody have XY, XR, XYR? Any combination of those will work. All right. You cannot have another point, though, with M because M's not a point. Any questions there before I move on? All right. Give me a line containing point Z now. Move over. Line containing point Z. Where we go on 17. Catherine, what do you got back there?
Could you just do a line with Z and you just have Z?
Okay, got to have minimum 2 points though. Z's only 1 point. I get a minimum of 2 points on this line. ZR, there you go. There's not too many options for here. Here are your options. ZR, RZ, or you could have used that lowercase letter up top here, line L. Okay, you didn't have as many options in number 2 as you would have had number 1. Anything else I'm forgetting there with that one? Yep.
So for like the line letter, like the line L, it has to go under, not next to, right?
Correct. Underneath it. Yep, everything's underneath it when you write it symbolically. How about a plane containing points W and R? A lot of options here, a lot of options. Got to have the word plane. There is no symbol for it, remember? All right, give me a way you name that plane. One way to name that plane. Aditya, going back to you.
Plane B.
B, that's right. Remember the capital letter there? Also, I know most of you may have put that. Any 3 letters that don't form a line. So let's see. X, W, Y. Would have been fine. The only thing that I would not accept would be plain X, Y, R. Right, everyone see why I wouldn't accept that? Because that does form a line. I need 3 points that don't. Yep.
Wouldn't point Z also not work? Because it's not on the plane.
Remember, planes go on infinitely?
No, Z.
No, that's what I'm saying, but planes go on infinitely, right? So this is just one, it actually keeps going, right, in all directions.
You said Z was below it.
Okay, all right, yep, okay. So I guess you couldn't have anything with Z there, all right, yep.
I'd say plane RWY.
That's fine. Yep, doesn't form a line. I'm good with that. Any other questions, comments? Yep.
Could it be plane MNR? Or
It's got to be points. Got to be points. Got to be 3 points. Yep. Because now you're naming lines.
Yeah.
Anything else? This is great, guys. Keep it coming. All right. All right. So before we move on, any questions on points, lines, and planes before we make our own diagram? That's huge. Make our own diagram now. Okay. I'm not going to leave you to the wolves here. I'm going to do this one with you. We're going to take this piece by piece. So first one says plane Z. Draw it. Everyone stop. Don't read the rest of it. Plane Z. Give me plane Z. Notice how I labeled it. I wrote it plane Z, everybody. Give me plane Z. So hopefully everyone's drawing their plane with a capital letter Z somewhere in the corner. All right? Plane Z. Somewhere in the... It doesn't have to be top right. No, it can be anywhere you want. All right, you ready to keep reading? We got 3 lines we're going to draw. X, Y, and W. First 2. Give me 2 lines on that plane, X and Y, that intersect at a point V. So give me 2 lines. They intersect, which means they cross each other. And they cross each other at this point V that I want labeled. Quick question as everyone's doing it. I'll make my line X. Where should the X go? Yeah, it's not a point, right? It should go somewhere near one of the arrows. And then I got another line that's going to intersect it somewhere. And I'm going to call that line Y. My diagram does not have to match yours. You can have it intersecting any way you want. But we should all have this point right here. What are we calling this point? That point should be called V. So has everyone got the first half of this correct? 2 lines intersecting at a point called V. You ready for the finisher now? Third line's coming in. W. Which line does W have to intersect? Okay, draw it in. Draw in line W, but it's got to intersect X. Can it intersect Y? Sure, I don't care. But it has to intersect X. That's the requirement. And then hopefully where they intersect, oh, forgot my W, right? W. And where they intersect, I'm going to call that point P. There it is. Any questions, comments, concerns? Now look, you may look around at your group mates, look up here at mine. It might be all different, but it's fine. It's correct as long as it just follows those requirements. Points, lines, planes. Any questions before I go over the last three vocabulary terms? Point, line, plane, the basic three. All right, here we go then. Last three. Pinwheels, pinwheels, yeah. All right, collinear. I ask this question every year and I get so many different responses. What word is contained in the word collinear?
Linear.
Okay, linear. I want to even break that down even more. Break it down even more, Odin.
Line.
Line, thank you. Hopefully anybody who was raising their hand, don't say ear.
Colin.
I don't know how that I would associate the word ear to geometry. Near, okay. I was looking for the word line, but everyone's correct, yes. Because I want to try to relate it to geometry here. Has the word line in it. That tells me any points on the same line are collinear. Points on the same line. So I'm going to make your life difficult here because that's what I love to do, see you struggle. I'm going to make a bunch of lines here with some points on it. All right. Here we go. I'm going to put point F on here. I'm going to put point P right there. I'm also going to put point C there. Point D right there.
Do we have to add all these points?
What class are you in?
Honor.
Suck it up. Too harsh. Third day. Too harsh. Everyone all right? Too harsh. If your wrist hurts, go down to the nurse and get an ice pack, I guess. All right. Here's what I'm going to have for some of you. I'm going to ask somebody, give me not one, or that's impossible, not two, give me 3 points that are collinear on my diagram. There's a variety of answers, right? There's a variety. I want 3 points up here that are collinear. All 3, not 2 out of 3. I want all 3 points to be collinear. All 3 points. Let's roll here. Odin, points.
Like F, P, and C.
Thank you. F, P, C are collinear. Oh, I want more though. We're in honors. I want more. More. Give me another set of 3 points that look collinear up here. Tess.
Points X, P. Oh wait, I'm looking at G and D.
Thank you. Perfect. Any questions about collinear? Points on the same line. Now, if we have collinear, I'm also going to ask about non-collinear. I'm not going to have you draw, just say C above. I'm not going to have you do this over. What would I do? Oh, it'd be so much work. Honors kids, just draw it over. C above. All right, now I want 3 points that are non-collinear up there. Now, hey, real quickly, all 3 points don't have to come from 3 separate lines. If you give me 2 points that are on the same line and the third one's not, that's good too. All right, as long as all 3 are not on the same line. They do not have to come from 3 separate lines. So points, give me 3 points that you consider non-collinear up here. 1, 2, Henry.
F, P, and G.
F, P. Okay, look, see how he gave me F and P. Those are collinear, but once he got G into the mix, all right, now we're talking non-collinear. Perfect. I just don't want you guys to get in the habit, oh, all 3 points have to come from 3 different lines. No, no. Yes?
For collinear, does it have to be 3 or can it be
Depends what the directions say. And 2 usually, yeah, minimum. I like to go 3. Other questions or comments? All right, we have collinear, and then the final term we'll talk about, coplanar. Yes, coplanar. So now what I want you to do for this diagram is my good old cube example. Let's see how many artists we have in the building. Oh boy. Cool. I can just imagine what these cubes look like. And yes, we are going to label all the points on here. A, B, C, D, bless you, E, F. Not bad, cubes, not bad. Not bad. Before I start even talking about coplanar, to help us out here, to answer some following questions, how many planes do I have up there on that diagram? How many planes are up there? Go ahead. How many?
6.
6. 6, right? All the faces? Okay, all the faces represent front, back, top, bottom, left, right, represent a plane. All right, so let's talk about coplanar. What I want you to do in your mind right now is pick one of those 6 planes and focus on it. Okay? Pick one of those 6 planes and focus on it. What I want first from somebody is, give me 3 points that would be considered coplanar, meaning the plane you're focusing on right now, give me 3 points from them, and those 3 points will be coplanar. Okay, so everyone's focused in on one of the 6 planes. Give me 3 points from your plane right now. 3 points from your plane, and they are coplanar. Where am I going with this? Kevin?
A, B, and C.
Okay, so you're doing the top plane, correct? All right, so Kevin's focus is on the top plane, and he's giving me the points A, B, and C, which are correct. Write down whatever plane you focused on and give me 3 letters. Those are considered coplanar. All good? Now, you can have more things that are coplanar than points. You can also have lines that are coplanar. Now, I know we don't see any arrows up here, but remember, planes extend on infinitely, so these would have arrows. I just don't have enough room. All right? Don't have enough room and space here to draw those. So again, focus on your plane. What plane did you pick out of the 6? Now give me 2 lines on your plane, and they are considered coplanar. Okay? Give me 2 lines on your plane that you chose. Whoa, 1, 3, where are we going there? Jacob, give me 2 lines on your plane.
EF and BF.
BF, and you said EF?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm assuming you're doing the front plane, right? Yep. So I could say BF and EF are coplanar. Multiple answers to any of it. You take one plane, give me 3 points, they're coplanar. Take one plane, give me 2 lines, they're coplanar. All right? Questions about that? Yep, go ahead.
In Jacob's example, they share a point. They don't have to, right?
No.
Okay.
No, I could have went on his plane, I could have went BF and AE. Okay. All right, we're actually going to talk about those tomorrow. Those are parallel lines. Okay. Any others? All right, here's how we're going to end class. You and your group, you got 4 questions using this figure right here to your right. All right, so try to answer as best your ability, and we'll go over them as a group here in about 2 minutes. Okay?
5 planes. Three collinear points. E, F, and B, maybe. A, H, and B works. I'm gonna do E, F, and D. Got it. The H are
Collinear.
collinear.
I know.
you connecting?
Are you talking about the letter?
Yes.
The letter represents, remember, a single letter is a point. You put those two together, now that's line AB. Okay?
You didn't think I'd be listening to Spanish or Spanish?
All right, here we go. How many planes are we working with in this figure here? Let's end class on a strong note here. How many planes, Henry? 5 planes. Good. It's always good to know when we answer the next. Give me 3 points that are collinear. All 3 must be on the same plane, one of those 5 planes. All 3, not 2 out of 3. All 3 must form one of those 5 planes. All right, so there's only 2 options you have here. There's only 2 different answers here I would accept. Kevin, 1 point.
I said
AHB, yep. AHB, that's part of this plane right here. Let's see, the only other one I would have accepted was FJB. Okay, FJB, right, is the only other set of 3 points. Anything else would not form one of those 5 planes. Everyone all right with your 2 options? Make sure you had those AHB or FJB. And our points A, H, J, and D coplanar, meaning all 4, not 3 out of 4, not 2 out of 4, all 4 are on one of those 5 planes. Yes or no? I don't need an explanation, just yes or no. A, H, J, and D, coplanar. What do we think they're going? Let me look at Gage. A, H, J, and D, are they all on one of the 5 planes?
No, they're all on the same plane.
What's that?
They're all on the same plane.
They are or no? That's what I'm asking, if they're coplanar or not. You told me no, and then you told me a yes.
Oh.
A, H, J, D. No, right? Hey,
I wrote it wrong.
A, H, J, they're good. Everyone agrees? A, H, and J are coplanar. They form this one, but D, that's the outcast. And I only need 1 to say a no. I only need 1. And then finally, how about points B, D, and F? Are they coplanar or not? Do they form one of the 5 planes up here? What do we got for that? Ones, Aditya, what do you have? BDF.
Yeah.
Sorry, A's. BD. Yes, BDF. Yes or no?
Yes.
Where's the plane? Describe to me location-wise. Where's that plane? That B, D, and F are coplanar for.
It's on like the back.
There you go. That's all I need to hear. Yep. We're talking about that plane right there, everyone. So that's a yes. All right. Questions? All right. 2 things before you go. Notice you got textbook pages. Those are on Google Classroom. Now, from year to year, I change up the homework assignment from year to year. So when you go to the answer key tonight, you may see extra questions that aren't assigned at the bottom of the page. Don't freak out. Just look for the answers you need. Okay? It doesn't mean you have to do more. All right? Do not just totally ignore anything extra there. Good? All right. Get your Chromebooks out. Get on Classroom. Get those textbook pages out, and make sure you check your work.
How much time's left in the period?
Great question.
11 minutes.
11 minutes. There you go. Plenty of time to get some done.